government being intended for the benefit of the people, and the rightful establishment thereof being derived from their authority alone, we the individuals and people of our several states of Pacifica, in order to form a more perfect union, secure and advance the blessings of liberty, freedom and autonomy, independence to ourselves and our descendants, establish an equitable system of justice, promote domestic peace and serenity of the people, provide for the common defense, enhance the lives and health as well as the safety of inhabitants and visitors guests, respect privacy, protect the people and their property, i.e. from natural, criminal transgressors, including from the abuse of power by the state, serve the people, as asked and secure their pursuit of a good way of life, assist and safeguard the suppression along with deconstruction and overthrow of systems of arbitrary power as well as institutional injustice in addition to oppression, repression and tyranny, elevate the general welfare of all of the people, to assist in the attainment and maintenance of an individual's and all Pacifican people's Maslowian needs, insofar as reasonably and humanly possible, especially by the achievement of post-scarcity, and protect the natural wealth and heritage for ourselves and our posterity, do ourselves ordain and establish this Constitution for the Pacifica of sovereign people, we set forth to bequeath a legacy of respect in truth, rights, and justice, and establish governance not perpetuated from barbarism and brutality, but rather compatible with and compliant to compassion and sympathy, empathy for persons. We the people, who ordain and establish this Constitution, intend for the rights protected and justice established by this Constitution to belong to all natural persons. Compassion from the government requires concrete policies to ensure respect for the human condition. Public trust demands transparent evidence and open dialogue of the people with their public servants. Apologies for the misdeeds of government in the past must be followed by substantive reforms in the present. The government formed by this Constitution must take the grievances of the past as declared by our own struggles for independence and erect a firewall around their own public administration to protect the people from abuse by any usurper or petty despot. The authority of the organic law in the Declaration of Independence recognizes that governments are instituted to secure the rights of people, and derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, through the Constitution. Therefore, as all power of governance is inherent in the people, we the people of Pacifica declare that all people are equal in rights and when they desire may then form a social compact within their just powers under the natural limitations in its autonomy, independence with respect to those inherent and unalienable rights of the people, which themselves are entirely fundamental and essential to the precept of self-determination, self-governance, autonomy, independence, sovereignty, and intrinsic freedom from restraint imposed by another, and that all such power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority, and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness, and they have at all times a right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such manner as they may think proper. Furthermore, it should be understood that the sole object and only legitimate end of government is to protect the citizen in the enjoyment of life, liberty, freedom and autonomy, independence, self-security, and freedom to secure others, and self-defense, and freedom to defend others' privacy, property, and the pursuit of happiness, as well as to promote, defend, secure, enforce, and preserve natural rights and natural justice, and when the government assumes other functions this becomes unjust usurpation and oppression. The government of Pacifica should aim to maximize the positive physical and emotional experience of the people while minimizing the negative, and in like kind the same way, shall seek at all times to promote and defend all of the people's individual prosperity, equally, respecting them as sovereign, with an emphasis on building successful, resilient, independent, and self-sufficient communities, as well as sharing knowledge. The government of Pacifica shall promote and defend the common people from all evils against the rights of people, animals, and which destroys the environment, nature. That which detriments emancipation must be abolished and banished to the graveyard, never to be resurrected, if the spirit of liberty is to be left tormented for the rest of reality. Immortal freedom of will and the manumet in autonomy, independence of self is the essence of sovereignty, which is understood by ourselves to be the most venerable rights of persons, and that lives eternally in the minds and through the affections of the great. We the people of Pacifica, preferring the tumult of liberty and dangerous freedoms over the peaceful quietude of slavish servitude, establish Pacifica as an assurance and insurance to ourselves and the generations to come, that their independence and individual sovereignty shall be preserved forever through the will expressed in this document. We do now and forevermore until the end of all energy, space, and time, stake permanent claim in our independence, without need of license, and for that of every other age and generation, which are and shall remain free to act for themselves as individuals, as should every other who are to be accounted for. We the people understand that we are immovable when we stand within our rights. We reserve all of our rights, with prejudice. We will not tolerate a system that discriminates between us or which subjugates us in any form whatsoever. We are united in our cause, purpose, and common destiny. This generation of peoples, and all who will but follow our guiding example and proceed to act accordingly in concordance to decide for theoself, declare that we shall not be subjugated under the dominion of any other, but rather desire to rule over our own selves as independent people, free of obligation or bound to anything or anyone to which we do not explicitly consent, except upon those terms in which we are all bound equally by the natural law to observe and abide, so as to subject none, and give due respect in all rights possessed by others. We the people, now and forevermore, forge an alliance to strike against arbitrary power, oppression, repression, and tyrants of all forms, as well as stake a claim in our popular sovereignty, and for our inherent right as such to form and dismiss our government as we see fit, so long as those institutions or their lack thereof are compliant with and secure each and every one of our individual natural rights as persons, which rights are unalienable. We congratulate all of those who have chosen to abide by the rule of right, and whom desire to follow the mutual path of rectitude, led together by the light of liberty. Together we forge an allegiance to the foundational precepts and fundamental rules which govern all beings from the zeroth principle. So long as we do not divide ourselves by class or rank, or judge each other except by quality of character and the whole of the truth, we shall remain elevated in perpetual union. May this great monument raised to liberty, freedom and autonomy, independence serve as a lesson to the oppressor, and an example to the oppressed.